Welcome into Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. We have another loaded show coming your way. Here's what we're talking about. We're going to do Sixers free agency grades as they've made a couple of really intriguing moves over the last weekend change. Summer League is also underway, and Paul Reed balled out to kick off Summer League for Philadelphia. Also, Shams Charania did say the other day the Sixers showing interest in Kyrie Irving. Are they still interested, and are there conflicting reports? We'll get to Kyrie on the back end of the show. But we start off with some Sixers free agency grades. And we're going to go player by player here and also talk about the Anthony Melton, who was not a free agent acquisition. He was the trade made on NBA draft night, but I think he's huge in what the Sixers have been able to accomplish this offseason. So we start off with PJ Tucker. I'm going to give it a B grade. Signed a 3-year, $33 million contract that is fully guaranteed. And at 37, that's my concern with PJ Tucker. He's played a lot over the last couple of years. And how is he going to be able to age given his game is somewhat predicated on physicality and going up against some of the best wings in the league? Could he really just defy Father Time and be a unique body type who's able to play really good ball at the age of 40? Maybe. But a fully guaranteed contract worth more than $10 million per year, a little bit of a concern. What I do like about Tucker coming to the city of brotherly love, brings much needed toughness to a team that's lacked it. He's a culture builder for a team that needs to build on the current culture. He can shoot the three ball and space the floor and wait openly for a James Harden pass or Joel Embiid out of the double team. He's also a high-level defender. Never scared to defend some of the most elite wings in the league, whether it be Kawhi Leonard when he's healthy, Jason Tatum in the playoffs, or some of the other top-tier wings in the National Basketball Association. You look at what PJ Tucker did last year, and a lot of Sixers fans not really high on bringing him in because he's older and he's somewhat expensive. And you look at the numbers as well, and they're like, you know what? He doesn't really do all that much to impact a basketball game. If that's the case, and if that's your opinion, you're just box score hunting. This guy puts his fingerprints on the game in a variety of ways in a Draymond Green type of way. Doesn't blow you away with his offensive production, 7.5 points per game, but is an unbelievable rebounder, plays so much larger than what his size is at 6'4", nearly a steal per game. He'll give you a block, and if he's knocking down about 41.5% of his three-point attempts and playing high-level defense, then that deal will be worth it. Again, my big concern here, how does PJ Tucker age? So what do you think of the Tucker signing? Some people love it. Some people don't like it. Let me know in the comment section, fielding your responses as always. And honestly, this is really valuable for what we do because I love going back to the comment section to see what all of you say. Give me an L for like, D for dislike. Get that comment section flowing. We move forward with our grades here. Daniel House, I'm giving it a B grade. It doesn't really move the needle all that much. Signed a 2-year deal, $8.5 million. That too, fully guaranteed. And Daryl Morey continues to bring the Houston Rockets to Philadelphia. PJ Tucker, former Rocket. We know James Harden, a former Rocket. Daniel House, a former Rocket as well. So, signed a 2-year deal, $8.5 million. It's fully guaranteed for a guy who gives you some pretty solid size. He can knock down some three-pointers, really good athleticism. He can run the floor in transition and throw down some dunks. He can also really just stretch the floor to a certain degree. And he is a pretty solid player. And I think that if he gives you what he gave you in Houston when he was there from 2018 to 2021, then it's a pretty solid signing for Philadelphia. Average at that point, nearly 10 points per game. He can put his hands in passing lanes. He can block some shots, and he can also defend the wing. 43% shooter during that span, playing alongside James Harden, knocked down about 37% of his shots from beyond the arc. Another free agent acquisition for Philadelphia, Trevelin Queen. I'm giving this a B grade as well. I don't even know if he's going to make the roster. I think it's way too harsh to give it a C, D, or an F. But the story here is something that Philadelphia can rally around, given it's a blue-collar city and an underdog city. From no college offers at all to this past year, G League MVP and G League Finals MVP. Pretty impressive. I want to see him play in the NBA Summer League. Did not play in the opener last night on Tuesday. Hopefully he gets on the floor so that we can see what he can do. I also want to talk about the Anthony Melton. Now, am I cheating a little bit calling this free agency grades and this was a trade that was made on NBA draft night? Maybe. But what happens in free agency also pertains to what goes down and transpires throughout the offseason. DeAnthony Melton, A grade. Sixers traded number 23, as well as Danny Green. In the process, you cleared up $10 million off your salary this upcoming year for a guy who's going to be making around $8 million. So you save a couple of mil in bringing in DeAnthony Melton. This guy's a really good player. He fell under the radar in Memphis, but when Ja Morant was out, even when Ja Morant was in the lineup, DeAnthony Melton fared really well and played some impressive basketball. And with an increased role with the Sixers, I think that he's really going to tap into his fullest potential. Has dog mentality. Again, that's been a theme for Philadelphia throughout this offseason. They brought in P.J. Tucker, dog. DeAnthony Melton, dog. A bench scorer and playmaker who can also start a handful of games. He's done that and has experience doing that throughout his career. He can hit the three, play some defense, improves the depth and wing defense, but also has some wiggle and can put the ball on the floor. What he's done the last 2 years, pretty impressive production. I mean, the per 36 minutes would be very solid, especially if he gets more minutes per game. And on a Sixers roster that needs depth and playmaking for that second unit, he might be able to play 25 to 30 minutes per game. You look at the numbers here, especially last year and the year before that, I'm looking at the shooting splits. 2 years ago, nearly 44%, 41% from long range, and then this past year, 40%, 37% from long range, and the points per game going up as the minutes went up as well, as did the three-point attempts, with the numbers going down slightly. But if you're hitting about 37% of your three-point shots, that right there, a little bit above league average, especially with a lot of volume there. So before we get to Summer League, grade the Sixers offseason so far. In total, I'm giving them a B. What do you think? A, B, C, D, or F? And while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We continue to grow 76ers now, approaching 8,000 subs right now. 7,370 people are subscribed to the channel. More than 1,000 people over the last month or so because our coverage has been downright awesome. YouTube.com/76ers TV. Join the party. Join the movement. To some Summer League takeaways. Sixers Summer League getting underway back on Tuesday night, and Paul Reed played good basketball. And as of right now, he's a backup center for Joel Embiid. I thought at times he played pretty well throughout the playoffs. For him, it all comes down to harnessing that energy. But against the Grizzlies, 20 points per game, 15 boards, 4 steals. He can be a very good defender coming in off the bench, 8 of 15 from the floor. And B-Ball Paul, able to hit a couple of three-pointers as well. He adds that to his arsenal. He could be a dangerous player. There's no question about that. As of now, he is Joel Embiid's backup. And when I watch B-Ball Paul, whether it be throughout the G League tenure, last year with Philadelphia, in the Summer League last night, love the hustle. He just needs to harness it a little bit. I mean, he goes on the floor and within 5 minutes, he has 3 fouls already. I mean, honestly, that has happened at times. And I love him being active. I love his length. He just needs to control it a little bit because if he's a backup center or if Embiid is out of the lineup, you run some of those small ball lineups, Paul Reed can play really good hoop, especially if he's knocking down that corner three. Against Toronto, he was able to knock down one of those threes. And on a two-man action, him going to the rim off an alley-oop, I'm not going to say he's going to be a Robert Williams type of player, but he does have that type of athleticism. As for Jaden Springer, first-round pick from 2 years ago, he was really missing in the Summer League last year, looked a little bit timid. He wasn't last night. 15 points, 4 of 12 from the floor, 0 of 2 from 3. I've always had some concerns about his burst as well as his three-point shot. Has to certainly develop that. Do you watch the Summer League? I do, because I'm a basketball nerd and I want to see what these young players can do for Philly. I think back to Ben Simmons playing in Las Vegas Summer League. Remember that? That was a lot of fun. He was hitting jump shots, knocking down threes, and we're thinking we have the next LeBron James, and then from there, he just got worse offensively. Y for yes, or an N for no. Real quick, we'll get you caught up on the latest rumors with Kyrie Irving. Is he going to get traded to the Sixers? Are the Sixers interested in him? Jake Fischer of Bleacher Report saying no. Irving's status, he said, is of course connected to Durant's trade outcome as well, but his number of possible outcomes seems far fewer than Ayton's. While the Mavericks and Sixers have been discussed as theoretical destinations for Irving, league sources contacted by Bleacher Report have strongly discounted Dallas and Philadelphia's interest in the all-star guard. So that right there, the latest on Kyrie. I've said this all along. It's always been unrealistic. I don't really want the Sixers to pursue Kyrie Irving. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. You give up one of your valuable assets for a guy who hasn't been consistently available and somewhat flaky and a little bit weird. I wouldn't do that if I'm Philadelphia. You move forward, and you want to see continued growth and development from Tyrese Maxey, who's a budding star in this league. You don't want to see that get handicapped and handcuffed by a player like Kyrie, who would take offensive opportunities away from Tyrese Maxey. Before we get out of here, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/76ers TV. Let's ride.